Hello, Internet, and welcome to Ship of the Week, a show where I take your suggestions and try to build them in under an hour. I'll take viewer ideas for ships, vehicles, or other machines, and when the timer starts, I have just 1 hour to design and build something that fits whatever specifications are set out for me. If I can't finish or the ship doesn't work as intended, it gets scuttled. Ships that do work will be published to the workshop for all to enjoy. Time to hop in and find out what we'll be doing this week in Ship of the Week. So, this week we're going to be doing an asteroid miner. That's not a very compelling name, but I'll get the gist across. Essentially, it's going to be a ship designed to bore through the center of an asteroid, get all the juicy ores from within, come on out the other side and keep going, sort of like a big space worm. So, yeah, that's kind of the main goal. The secondary task is I want it to be able to do that in one go. I don't want to have to stop partway through drilling. Now, I intend to have it drill fairly slow, just because you have to, otherwise you explode. There's kind of a maximum speed you can travel with drills, but the goal is to have it so it can bore a hole straight through an asteroid without having any sort of cargo issues, and then process all the goodies it got on the way to the next asteroid. So let's hop on out into the space and get going. Okay, so 1 minute on the clock, let's get rolling. Okay. Now I think the most logical place to start here is going to be drills. Can also need cargo and refineries. Pardon the idea, this is some sort of essentially mining derrick type machine. So it should be able to do all the stuff from gathering the raw materials to processing it on its own. That way it's not carrying undue mass of ore. Let's go ahead. I'm also going to make it large grid just because refineries. I think how we may do it, I'm going to go for sort of a mining shield approach. So, if you've never seen them, tunnel boring machines are called mining shields, and it's because the front of them looks like a big old shield made out of drill. So, if I do something like that, it should be large enough and kind of give me enough room behind it that I can put everything I need to. Because the trick with this sort of device, it needs to fit all the stuff it needs to be a functional ship within the hole it bores. So, I don't really want to have too much overhang if I can avoid it. So that's sort of my drill ring. Wondering if this might be too big. Because while I was just saying big is important, too big can cause issues, if nothing else, because it's a lot of drills, and it kind of becomes unreasonable to ever try and build. We've got time. I'm going to try a second one of a smaller size and see if I like it better. This is a handy trick for if you're building something with rings. So I've built, well, you can kind of see, I've got copied what I have there. I've built just enough that it's essentially a fourth of one. And if I start kind of positioning it and placing it where it would need to be, you can see I create a perfect little circle. Now that could work. That's a little bit more narrow. I feel like I don't like the proportions, so maybe if we do like this. Still a lot of drills, but that's kind of the order of the day. I don't know. I obviously like that one because it's more circular. It kind of fits more the image of a big circle that I was going for. But I think this one's a better size and would be more useful. I guess I could see... What if I take away... That may be something. It's got a little bit more of the arc. It doesn't perfectly work, but I think we'll go with that. I think that'll be a good size and kind of meet the aesthetic I was going for. Yeah. Now that's a drill wall. And what I may do is actually remove that middle one. We'll see why before too long, but I shouldn't need it to drill, because the drills do more than just their own area. That should be good. Let's get rid of the bigger circle. So, we've got this. I kind of, and I may use heavy armor here just in case. Let's turn on mirror mode, like so, just because it'll speed this up. So if I do that, it'll kind of tie it together. I think there'll be enough clearance for these blocks. It might get cozy, but in theory, I'm just going straight, so that should be good. So my idea was to have this essentially as a spot for forward viewing, and that'll help with aligning on ore deposits. I don't know why I decided to look at the moon for that. This won't work on the moon, but yeah, this should let us get ore deposits fairly in the center. We can kind of see out in the dead center of the drill. Should be fairly protected because all the drills will mine the dirt, so it should be good. One thing I may do on these as well, so we'll have some lights there. They may or may not actually illuminate very much, but the goal is just to kind of help lighten up the tunnel on the front side so we can see what's happening. I'll try and remember to set those up here in a minute. But now, I think the next step is cargo. Since all these are kind of all interconnected, it's fairly easy to plumb some cargo in. I think maybe I'll go just down each side here. Maybe 6 of them. Oh no, don't want that up. Yeah, that'll hopefully be enough. 6 large cargo containers is a lot of volume. And that should hopefully be enough to... Gosh, that was a lot of stuff that appeared all at once. Hopefully this will allow us to fill the things up without much struggle. We'll have enough extra room that we won't get full up, because we'll also have how do I want to line? Yeah, that should work. We'll have a refinery there, then a mirrored one there. Okay, so we've got 6 cargo containers for cargo storage. We have 2 large refineries, each with full speed modules. These will allow them to process through materials much quicker. The main purpose of that is to get through stone. Because my idea with this, you could right-click drill until you get to the ore, and that's probably the smarter option. But because you get useful stuff from stone, you're already going through it anyway. My thought is I might as well design this with the intent of being able to gather that stone and have it available as well as whatever ore is in the asteroid. This should allow us to do that. It'll help keep the cargo containers free for whatever ore we reach. And worst comes to worst, it still helps kind of speed the process along. It makes sense that it would be, you know, you'd want it to be processing quickly, because the more weight you have to carry around that's not valuable, the more wasted energy. Talking of energy, I think, and I'll justify this partially by, this is a lot of drills. This thing's a lot of mass. If you're to the point that you are going and just boring through asteroids, you're probably to the point that you can manage some expense. And this thing is essentially a functional base ship, in addition to being a ore ship. It doesn't have production capability, I suppose, but it has all the refining capability you would need. So, I think I'm going to give it... maybe one of these? No, it doesn't quite work. Could use some of those, but no. It's going to get a large reactor. I think we're going to need that, partially just because this whole thing's going to take a lot of power to keep running. And to keep it running for a long time as it goes through an asteroid. So I think it's fair to say, if you're to this point, if you're using something of this type, you're probably going to have what you need to throw one of these on it. We go ahead and take a peek. Reactor components aren't cheap. 2,000 of them. 47 minutes. Maybe we see if we can get by with just batteries. Maybe we'll throw batteries on it and see how they handle. We'll have 8 of them. That's still a good bit, and fully charging this, you know, it would give it enough juice. Which, speaking of, I may, while we work, so this will not stay. It should be out of the way, because I won't be doing anything to the outer shield. But if I slap this full of uranium, yeah, it will start using that. It'll get the batteries charged, and then when we test it, we'll be able to test it with full power. Speaking of full power, I may need a seat. One moment. So we've got thrust, we've got or not thrust. We need thrust. That's probably what we'll get to. But we've got the batteries, we've got refineries, cargo, and the drills. So yeah, thrust. Actually, what I may... So normally, you'd want to get a lot of your structural stuff first, and then start adding fine detail. But I kind of intend this to be pretty... essentially to look like this. So, I think I'm going to add some details now. First thing I'm going to do is add these sort of tubey fellas. These are not really necessary. Everything's piped through the drills. But it always feels wrong to me to have it through... have my entire cargo network kind of through one thing at the very front of the ship. That's technically where all the stuff comes from. I feel like there should be other connections. And these, I think, will help kind of visually tie the two sides together and make it look like one structure. And with those on there, I can then do some thrusters, and they will presumably look better. I know kind of where I have room for them. So I'm thinking some thrusters there. So that'll be 4 up, 4 down. I can do 4 to each side over here. Maybe tie those in with some pieces to make them look better. So I'd be tempted to use the big ones forward and back. But on the sides here, they wouldn't quite fit in the hole. Additionally, and for overall space travel, this may not be as ideal, but this thing, when it's kind of operating, one of the keys with drilling is you have to go quite slow. So I think it may actually be better to have it be somewhat underpowered for forwards and backwards movement. Side to side will be handy because it can keep everything held in position. Maybe we just do like one there. We just do 2 pairs of these sort of numbers. We have a cockpit. We can see if this works. So, very slow to accelerate, slow to decelerate, which could be an issue. Maybe... Ooh, that's an idea. Okay, so this will be a little unique, but I think this will work in the end. This is going to have 2... It's going to be an omnidirectional ship. So this is the cockpit you use for mining into asteroids. Once it's done, the whole ship, I think, will flip around and then fly so that that way is forward instead of that way. So when mining, we have a bunch of thrust comparatively to decelerate it, so that you have much finer control and don't smash the drills off. But when it's time for actual travel, you have much better forward acceleration. I think that works. I'm kind of thinking we just run catwalk down to this end. Maybe at this end we have a little sort of living space too. I wasn't sure I was going to do that because it seems potentially unnecessary. I mean, I guess it makes sense if this is meant to be traveling distances. Yeah, maybe let's start laying out a quick thing here. I'll remember to put gyros on it in a minute. So this is kind of what I've come up with. It kind of matches the same curves of the shield. That sort of 2/3 into a 2/3 slope. I think it should give enough room up here. I'm going to put some glass up front. It should give enough room to kind of not build a very comfortable living area, but build a survivable space. So what I'm thinking here, we'll just have cryopod and cryopod. Up here at this end, we'll have a control there. Maybe in here, I want to build an O2H2 gen. Oh, it's going to be a real pain with these half blocks to kind of get the vent working. Do we need 2 cryopods? Not necessarily. My thought would be that this is some sort of, you know, you'd have at least 2 crew going. But maybe one flies, one cryopods it, and then they just hot swap the cryopod. Sounds reasonable. Again, kind of implied they can, you know, they just get snack food to eat from a vending machine. Maybe a little table just to have somewhere, but not really high living. This is a very much utilitarian vessel. Maybe you do get stuck on here just yourself alone in space, if you're unlucky. Okay. Well, so that means I need to fit somewhere an O2H2 gen, which could maybe go up here. Yeah, we'll do that. Just, again, I don't think it's particularly necessary, but we'll do a tank there. And then we'll do gyros under here. We may cover that off a little bit with something. So that should be enough stuff to kind of keep the person in board this alive. Maybe, actually, that's probably the wrong thing to use. Maybe that's in there and there is no tank. Can I build? No. Well, so maybe the tank goes below it then. Yeah, that'll be there and I'll mirror this. I need a bunch of gyros on this, because an experience in the past, I at least play with the tool shake on the drills, which means the drills will vibrate, which for this sort of method of drilling doesn't really help, because you're trying to, you know, go in a straight line, and jiggling about makes that not happen. So more gyros will give it the authority to kind of hold its position. I think I'm going to put maybe some grates in there. And just kind of cover that up. Like so, and then... it'll be hard to do grates down the middle of these. What could I put here? So if I have something on this block... is there anything else? Oh! That's something I need. Ore detector. I need some way to know what ores I'm detecting or going for underground. So we'll have that in there. Maybe we'll just stick some of those there, because I can then have the antenna coming off and then repeat what I did underneath with catwalk, and then yeah, then line of plates. So you've kind of got these two chunky bits holding that there. Got the pipes going. Got this work into the kind of this bit. Let's do we'll do airlock doors here. So this area can be pressurized and nice and comfortable. We'll have this sort of trench, which I think I'll just do with catwalk. So you can kind of see a lot of the industrial equipment. You can see out to space. Everything going on. You can come back here and be relatively comfortable, but not so comfortable that you get comfortable, if you catch my drift. Yeah, I think this is fitting the need. Those almost don't feel chunky enough. If we want chunky... No, those feel too chunky. It's not really compelling either. Why don't I just stick more gyros? Again, the more gyro authority, the better, so... And gyros give a sort of... You know, there's a lot of shape and dynamicism to them. Though I don't know. I feel like there needs to be something there, because they don't flow in well enough. That's not bad. Pretty dramatic change, but I can kind of get a little bit of slope going, flow into that. I've got some more battery room. Yeah, I think that works. I think that's functionally everything I need, right? I've got batteries for power, I've got a whole bunch of storage, I've got processing capability. I have a little bit of survivability, control from both ends, and I can easily kind of manage what I need to do. And let's set up some controls real quick, and then we can do some painting. I probably don't need to see all these at once. We'll just do drills. These I can name as, maybe shield lights. Shaled. Shield lights, there we go. Do that and set the offset up just to kind of help spread the light forward mainly. So if I have toggle block on off, I can have a control to toggle those on and off. I may just give myself a control to use the drills, so I can have them just on and running. Or I can do it manually, which lets me do things like right click as well. Ooh, that's a lot of gyro authority. Well, that should be alright. It's what I need. The last thing I want to do, well, probably not the last thing, but thing I want to do in here, and I should probably make a general thrusters group, but want to set up the reverse thrusters as a separate thing, because I can then use them, have them toggled on and off separate from the resonant thrusters, and then I can just coast forward. My idea here, I get myself moving very slowly, turn off the reverse thrusters, and then basically drift into the asteroid, drilling it. My goal is to go slow enough that as I drill the asteroid, the drills get rid of all the stone in front of me, so I can just kind of drift through. It's sort of my mindset with this. The shake may make that less tenable, but that's just something we'll have to find out. Several of them are charged. The last of them aren't. I'll just set them all to recharge for now. That's an unnerving noise. It's like the drills are on, but they aren't. That's not ideal. Let's just do a quick ol'... Yes, silence. Okay. One thing I should probably do too. Let's maybe knock out this tube. Pop a T-piece in. Pop a connector. That way there's a way for the ship to unload itself. Also throw some ice in here. Go ahead and fill the O2 tank and pressurize that front room when it's ready. Which I guess can be now. Yeah. So we've got batteries. We've got an ore detector that I should set to... set that to the full range. Let's go ahead and turn those and those off from showing. I'm half tempted to try and set up the gyroscopes on an override. The issue is, while the override can generally help, the override doesn't counteract force applied, and the tool shake is a force applied type of situation. So let's go ahead and give it a quick old paint job. I'm thinking battered yellow. We've got this sort of gray, default gray that we could apply. Kind of go with this just to give a little bit of accenting, but keep it simple. There'll be two tones, so kind of not overly bearing. I need to spawn myself in real quick. Just one thank you. Paint gun. I don't think I need, with creative mode tools, that I need paint. No, I do. Alright. Can add some lights around. I don't actually think I have room to add lights in here. Well, that's fine. This is outside. In theory, so long as the sun's above or below you, you get light either way. Okay, so pressurized in here. That's good. Go ahead and light, light, light. Maybe paint that gray and that gray just to imply they're kind of furniture. Cryopod will leave with the light white or yellow accents. Let's go ahead and up these, and I think we're good. I guess we should test. So in sort of space travel forward, got that to kind of pull it along. Much slower to slow down, but that's fine. In theory, you could kind of turn and burn to slow down, because when you're at an asteroid, you want to use the other end. But at the other end, much more fine control, and it stops much quicker. Which for our purposes is going to be a good thing. It's a bit of a shame. I almost wish this thruster weren't here, because then I could do some of this along the outside. I wonder. We've got 10 minutes left. I'm gonna do some quick science. Because if this works, one, that would be really good and handy to know. Two, I think it looks much better having that running across. Now I wonder, because technically this isn't a collision in here. I wonder if the thruster flame will fit. Because you can sort of do that, like thrusters through passage blocks or doors. You can put them and they don't damage the block, because the actual flame isn't colliding with the block. So let's see if that... We'll use this end. Get up to some speed. Do backwards a little bit. Yeah, it does take a while to slow down backwards. So now, welding tool. Hey! I think this is perfectly safe. That's sweet. That's really useful, because you can use those to kind of give some implied height while still leaving a trench for a thruster to go. And that works well. Yeah, you could still access this port if you wished. You don't really need to, because there are 5,000 ports on the drills. I guess I could... Yeah, we'll do that just as a Final thing. Again, they shouldn't get in the way. And it'll mean, at least from most sides, it doesn't look like a whole bunch of weird access ports every which way. We should be fully charged and ready to roll. Turn those on to auto. Okay. Well, I think this ship is now ready for testing. So let's stop the clock. 5 minutes and 53 seconds left. Okay. Guess it's time to find an asteroid. Okay. So here we are. We have found an asteroid. Ship is near it. So I guess the first test is to move into position. Kind of line up and see where an ore deposit might be. I guess I could be going at this the other way too, but in theory it would work both ways, and I do have more speed this direction. Feels like it makes more sense to just stick with this for any scouting and traveling. I do see what might be ice up on that little one, but that's not really in the spirit of just drilling straight through. Let's see. Oh, cobalt and magnesium in there. Okay. Let's line up maybe on the magnesium? Maybe the cobalt? They may both go into underground caverns. Now, that is the thing with asteroids, is you do tend to get holes in the middle of them. We'll go for the cobalt. It seems to be more center line. So, get out of control up here. Head back. The benefit of this being kind of built into the wall of drills is this cockpit's also piped, so I don't have to worry about oxygen while I'm in here. So, line up. Ooh, that's deafening. I'll fix that for you. I can't hear. Also, my FPS is not pleased with this sort of endeavor. Ooh, this could get... I didn't anticipate this being hard to record. Alright. Retro thrust is off. We'll go at 1 meter per second. And see what happens. Oh, it's so much more quiet out here. I'm much further away from the rock than I thought I was. That's fine. Yeah. The benefit of being able to turn off just the reverse thrust, I still have the ability, if I turn, my side thrusters will help me turn, so I actually track, you know, almost like an aircraft would. I was going faster than I wanted to. Back in we go. Okay, we're still on target. Okay, 40 meters a second. We'll see if that looks too fast. It does. Yeah, I feel like 0.1 meters a second is what I can do safely, which does make sense because that's kind of what you would run a piston drilling at. Well, this is not quick. Cockpit's full of stone. How are the refineries doing? They're filling up, but they were going down. When they start going down again. Nah, looks like they're just on the fill up now. I think most of our drill heads are now in the stone, yeah. Oh god, it's loud. Do a little micro adjustment to keep us on course. Well, I didn't say this is exciting work. The drills aren't filling up, which is good. Refineries are actually calming back down. That may be because we slowed. Oh, I wonder if we hit, and that's why it slowed down. So we're going at 17.17 meters per second. 17 just sounds better in my heart. Yeah, so it does look like we every so often kind of hit the rock and stop. Which isn't ideal. The shield may not actually fit. The little edge things may be causing a problem. I feel like I have to kind of stay in here just to keep on target. Yeah, but I think we're stuck. Let's turn off the drills. Maybe someday the drills will get that memo. It's hard to tell. I mean, it's clearly very close on these corners. But the drill itself is going through. And it looks like it's going through on the top here. Though that's definitely caught. Yeah, dang, I don't think those little corner bits work. So, I could just say, oh, well, failure and blow it up. But that's such a minor thing. We're just gonna say, you know, those are factory protective housings. They're there to kind of protect the drills in shipment, and before you start drilling, you're supposed to remove them to reveal the much more flush to the ground blocks there. That's how it is, that's how it always was, or always meant to be. You don't know anything, I'm the editor. Right, we no longer have our dish lights, which is kind of a loss, but I don't really think it is that critical. It was kind of nice. Oh well. Oh boy. Back in we go. It should now kind of all slide through without much issue. It is a little bit, maybe I do need lights. Yeah, and display the correct inner lights that are there and always meant to be there. We all knew they were there the whole time. Let me set them up. Oh crap. I didn't name these interior lights, so the first three are probably... These are the shield lights. It's their radius, it's their offset, their intensity's that. Don't read too much into it. It's still not quite as bright as it was, unfortunately. Corner lights don't give off as much of a radius as interior lights do, but it gives enough. I mean, now nothing can be seen. It's better to just go out here. But yeah, it gives enough that you can kind of tell what's going on. So I was talking about the internal chasms. You can see I'm already breaking through slowly into some inner chamber, which I guess gives some benefit. So the miner can just kind of drill whatever hole it needs to into an asteroid without a worry. but there's less material in an asteroid to kind of get in the way than you'd necessarily expect. Okay, let's do a quick inventory check again. Yeah, refineries seem to be holding steady. Now, of course, we did have some backing up and whatnots that may have given them some more time, but overall... Oh, God, I forgot. We'll use spectator cam. Oh, it's coming through. It's kind of terrifying. But yeah, overall, it seems to be working. I originally had the idea that I'd end this test with it bored all the way through the asteroid. I don't think I have the time for that. Mostly it would either be one long time lapse or me editing it out, and it will take probably like 4 hours, and I have one more of these to do. So I may just kind of let it go, but maybe once the rear engine pods are in, once I'm fully encased in Asteroid, that'll mean that every part of it can go through the tunnel. Because the rear engine pods are actually the widest part. Just now realized they kind of... Because they're the same width as the shield, there is a potential of them hanging. Gotta use this to see... Yeah, somehow we've drifted. That's gonna hit. Yeah, I've got to angle this away. Which does mean I'm no longer aligned for the cobalt. Which isn't ideal. We're still going through, and we'll probably hit some cobalt. I mean, that's probably down to pilot error because of all the ins and outs I had to do on the tunnel. Well, I think I'm going to say... we had a couple minor hiccups, but they were minor hiccups. Easily adjustable, and sometimes these things have to be worn in. So, I think overall, this thing seems to be working. We'll check our refinery. So the refineries are full. Are the drills... Some of the drills are now filling. Some of the cargo containers are full. In fact, all the cargo containers are full. But, okay, that's another thing. I think that could also come down to user error. I also have the ability, if I do this, I can right-click drill. I need to turn on my reverse thrust. I can right-click drill. So it kind of suggested the idea of, waste not, want not, use the stone. That's not necessary, and honestly, that's probably not how you do it in real life. If you're to the point that you're mining resources in asteroids, you're going to just dive in, get the bits you want, and leave. This thing's probably primarily for, like, uranium and platinum mining. So honestly, despite the fact that maybe it's not a success in the fullness of the word, I think this is a success. It does the job of mining into asteroids. Sort of a big mining ship. It's also refining stuff. It would be able to, while mining, it could get a full load completely of ore, refine it, and then take it back to base, all kind of, using the travel time to also be refining time, which is good. I think it works. It's half buried in an asteroid right now, so you can only see part of it. And I think that's how we're gonna leave this. So yeah, I guess this will be on the workshop, probably when this video goes up, if I remember to do it this time. So yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. Feel free to check out any of the other stuff I've done. There'll be another Ship of the Week coming next Wednesday, so until then, bye bye.